What's up, guys? This is Malik back with another trade recap, and today we're going over our trade on NQ. So far today we made $5.72, so we're not doing too bad. I will say this though, in terms of the account, we're exactly where we still were for the past three trades, pretty much. Just been having a few break evens, pretty much back to back to back, but that's okay. I'm completely fine taking break evens, knowing that these are actually good trades, and we've been taking actually a lot of really quality trades lately. So let's just get into it, really. So as you guys can see, we took a sale today on NQ. We can just start on like the 4 hour time frame, going into my psychology with today. Of course, looking at this. Excuse me. Pardon me. Looking at this from going into market open, actually, 1 hour probably better. Going into market open, we see the market have a huge push to the upside. We did not clear any previous liquidity from the previous day thus far. So that's more or less what I was looking for price to clear some type of liquidity at the very least. Overall, we are bullish on on just indices in general. We're bullish on NQ as well. However, this was going to be a trade I take based off of just taking a sale based off of clearing London highs. So going into, like I said, this 9:30 open, we didn't really. Oh, excuse me. We didn't really see a strong liquidity sweep from yesterday, which I would have wanted to see. I would have wanted to see these lows get swept or these lows get swept, or both, really, if I was to take a buy. But I wasn't really interested in taking this buy because I only really take trades that give me liquidity sweeps of previous levels. So since we didn't get this sweep of any buy going into this 9:30 candle, I was more or less looking to see what price does at previous levels of liquidity. For example, London high. When we first get to our London high, let's go ahead and move all this. What do we see? We see price have a strong push up, and then we see a reaction at that level. And if we go back to it, and I like looking at this without anything, just so I can really look at these candlesticks and really like show you guys what I'm looking at. But if we go into, I'll delete all this stuff too, just so I can replace all this. But as you can see, price shot up, had a strong reaction at our previous London high. And if we go to our 15-minute time frame, we also had a fair value gap. And this might have been on our 15 or our 1 hour. Where did I mark this up at? Looks like I might have marked up maybe on the 15-minute, but we're just gonna mark it up on the 1 hour since we're here. But fair value gaps, they can really be subjective sometimes. Let me find my, where's it at? Can't find what I'm looking for. Here we go. Fair value gaps can be subjective because yes, you could have marked something up like this, and this could be your fair value gap from the 1 hour. Or we can go back to that 15-minute time frame, and I also see one right here. And it can be really subjective. Well, actually, I don't even think I see one right here. No, never mind. But sometimes it can be subjective. So I would be very careful with just taking trades straight off fair value gaps. I like to have a trade make sense while I take it. So we have that liquidity sweep. We pretty much fill this entire fair value gap and then some. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I go my way yawning on these. After that, what I'm looking for is now a break of structure. And on the 1 minute time frame, because I like sometimes looking for my break of structures, of course, they're gonna happen on the 1 minute time frame first. So if we go to like the 9:30 candle, we're gonna see price actually give us what to me initially was all I needed for my breaker structure, but this wasn't the strongest breaker structure. It actually didn't even close 100% underneath this low. So I wouldn't say this was a breaker structure that necessarily was 100% valid. So all the other confirmations really need to make sense for me to enter. So we're going to just count that as our breaker structure. After that, we're going to look for our 5 minute retrace. So from us clearing this liquidity, having this so-called breaker structure right here, I'm looking for our 5 minute pullback. Now in our 5 minute pullback, we're literally just looking for, if we're selling, we're looking for a lower high, and for buying, we're looking for a higher low. So in this example, we see price come down and form a lower high, and this is where I got my entry. It was a little bit in drawdown pretty much from or a little farther away from where that candle closed. I closed in like the last 20 seconds of that 5 minute candle, but that's okay. Pretty much still gave me the entry I wanted with the stop loss I wanted, and we just targeted our daily lows to give us a nice 1 to 4.44 risk to reward ratio. And this trade played around a lot, honestly. It played around a lot. As you can see, we got a nice drop into profit the first about 15-20 minutes into this trade. Then we're back in the drawdown. Then we go back into profit, and then we come back to our entry. And I believe right around here, once we start forming a lower high, it showed me that price could continue to go up and take out my entry or take out my trade to hit the stop loss. So by that point, I went ahead and just put my stop loss at entry. Once we form this second higher high right here, or higher low, just to kind of protect my trade, and I felt good with that because this trade was playing around for close to about 2 hours. So by that point, price came, it didn't come hit my entry, played around a lot, and then eventually when price dropped all the way down here, pretty much clearing this liquidity from right when price took off for New York session, had that first pullback, it cleared all that liquidity and just shot up. So this shows me that this was the true trend for the day. I just wasn't involved in that. I was just involved in the pullback, which I thought the pullback would be a bit deeper for us to get this entry and get this sale, take it down all the way down here. But that's not what the market wanted to do today. It wanted to do its own thing. Now, would I would have taken this buy? The answer to that would be pretty much no, because I like getting my liquidity sweeps right around New York session open. So this was our New York session open candle, this 5 minute candle, this double-edged sword. If this candle actually gave me a really nice liquidity sweep of these lows, even down to these lows, I would have felt really good about this buy. I would have waited for a 5 minute pullback, fair value gap, into our equilibrium level, something, but this did not give us the entry we wanted. Like up here, this gave me pretty much all my confirmation entries except for a strong break of structure. It was decent enough for me to find an entry. Did it actually come into equilibrium? That's a good question to ask, though. I will say that. That's something to think about. Did this trade actually come into equilibrium? So it closed slightly above our 50%, which isn't terrible. It doesn't mean it's a bad trade or anything, but that's just something that's good to know for this trade. But yeah, how can we improve here? We could wait for a stronger break of entry. If we did, it would have had to been like pretty much this 1035 candle, I would like to think. Is that a good break of entry on the 1 minute? Yeah, it would have been this pretty much right around here, actually 1045. This would have been a big close of our 5 minute, or really just a good close of break of entry. Excuse me, not break of entry, break of structure. And potentially could have found an entry lower, which is putting our stop loss above this high. And it would have pretty much been the same type of situation. Probably would have still broke even. But the entry I got, I still am pretty proud of it. I'm happy with that entry. And even though it hit a break even if it took a loss, I'd have been fine with that entry anyway. Because ultimately, that's going to make you know that even if you take all your confirmations, you're still not 100% guaranteed to win. You're going to take those trades, have a pretty decent set of confirmations, feel pretty good with it, and it still might hit your stop loss. Or you could take a trade that meets zero, your confirmation is still your take profit. One does not necessarily dictate the other. It's really all about just having that trading consistency, following your plan, risk management, trading confirmations, confluences, and really just staying true to yourself and your entries. So, luckily for me, the past 3 trades have not been any type of losses. We've been preserving capital really well, especially after a big win from last week. This is the first trade of the week. I didn't see anything yesterday. ES actually had a pretty similar story here. I would have potentially taken a sale on ES. I just didn't like the way these candles closed. Like, nothing over here really screamed out to me that this looked good. Like, we looked really choppy after New York open, really nasty movement. Then when price came to the sweep liquidity from the London high, this was our London high. The London high was up here. So it only swept liquidity for pre-market, and it didn't really do much after that. It just wasn't clean, and I didn't like how any of these candles were forming. And even if I took this entry here that was potentially lining up, this would have not been a break even. This would have went a straight to stop loss type of trade. So luckily for us, we did not take this trade. We just took that NQ setup, which was a lot cleaner. Actually went into profit, deep into profit, actually. Not bad. Actually went about almost, I could have caught a 1 to 2 if I really wanted to, but me personally, I'm not taking anything less than a 1 to 3 9 times out of 10. So it still was a decent trade. I'm not mad at that setup at all. It just didn't go in deep into profit as I would have liked. So with that being said, I appreciate you guys watching the video. Here's an update on the account where we're at. We are at 153,596, which makes us still about $4,500 until we hit our a little under actually $4,500 until we reach our profit target. Then we'll get our quote unquote live account, really our simulated account, and then we're gonna start our withdrawal process with Top Step, and then we're gonna keep it going. We have a lot of big plans with Top Step, with these prop firms, with this account in general. This year, I really haven't spoken much on that account. I will in the near future. It will be when we actually get our first payout with this account. So that's something for you all to kind of take notice of when we get to that point. We'll have a lot more structure in terms of like what are we even doing. I didn't explain much with this channel what we're doing, but that's okay, because ultimately sometimes the plan doesn't need to be disclosed until we get there, and then when we get there we can have a little more conversation about where we're going from there. So with that being said, I appreciate you guys watching the video, and I'll catch y'all the next one. Peace.